So a couple weeks ago on Bloody Disgusting, they revealed that Clown in a Cornfield was getting a 1 week early release in drive-in movie theaters across the country. But there was only 7 locations. And we do have a drive-in right here in our actual town of Glendale. And I was like, I wonder if it would be there. And sure as shit, there it was. And I was pretty skeptical to go because we've went to this one about 3 other times, and every time it's been way too dark to be able to see much. During like night scenes, it's like you can barely not see like anything.
Yeah, nothing.
So, but I wanted to see it early. I thought it was going to be such a cool idea. Clown in a cornfield, in a drive-in. I was just like, that sounds cool. And it's a week early. So we went, and yeah, it was very dark.
Yes.
We couldn't see probably 25% of the film very well at all. So I do want to admit up front that the review will be a tad skewed because of the experience, but anyway, so that's how we got to see it early. If you don't know, Clown in a Cornfield is based off of a book series, 1 of 3 with a 4th on the way, supposedly. And this is about a dad and a daughter that are moving to Kettle Springs, this town, and they have an annual festival that celebrates their local mascot, Friendo. And she makes friends with these kids in town. They go out partying one night, and Friendo wreaks havoc in a cornfield. So anyway, okay, I will say this. We read this book for a book club that we were doing for our patrons, and we discussed this book at length with people. And I also read the second book. I have not read the third book yet, but I wasn't really a huge fan of it. I thought it was way too young adult.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty surprised when this was announced that it was R-rated. Mm-hmm. Even though I do think that what happens in the book can be translated to an R rating, since that is what we get, and it is a slasher for all intents and purposes. The book very much reads like a young adult novel.
Yeah.
And I think that it's supposed to be geared towards a young adult audience, and so is this movie. I feel pretty much the same way about the film. The film is a pretty accurate adaptation for the most part. Definitely condensed. Some events are changed to some degree. Some things are cut out, typical adaptation stuff. But, for the most part, everything in the movie is mostly in the book. So I think if you're a big fan of the book and you're like, they better adapt every single thing, it's then you're going to be upset. I don't know. This movie was okay-ish at best. Hopefully if we actually see it, we'll like it a little more, but I don't even think seeing it's going to help that much.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel very middle of the road with this one, leaning a little bit more towards dislike, I guess.
Same.
It's not, I think that it is geared towards a young adult audience, teens. So I think I could see maybe more younger people being a little bit more into it. Honestly, it's kind of a good intro slasher in a way.
Yeah.
There are a few kills that unfortunately, because of our drive-in screen, I couldn't see very clearly, so I can't really report on the gore levels, but I don't think they're anything insane. This is not anything close to a Terrifier or anything like that. But as you said, I think that it's a fairly good adaptation of the book. I like the way Friendo looks a lot. That's my biggest positive, I would say, is that I really like the design of Friendo, like the mask and the way it sounds when he walks around and stuff. I think that's all really cool. And yeah, other than that though, like I'm not that like into the chemistry of the friend group.
Agreed.
It felt kind of fake to me.
Agreed.
I don't know if that's just because they're like going, for like the younger generation and like it's supposed to be, I don't know, but I think you can usually, when you watch like a really solid like teen movie, no matter when it comes out, like if there is a really good chemistry, because there are kind of like universal teen emotions that everybody feels that you can relate to, all that just to say that I just think that the actors didn't vibe as well as I think you'll find that the characters in the book. Like, you really, I think, buy more into their relationships and the drama and everything in the book than in the movie. But, what are you going to do? That's just kind of sometimes something that happens when you adapt books to movies. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's always going to be the case, right? Like, you're going to get so much more character development. You're going to get more time with the characters. You're going to get more insight into who they are, both internally and externally. So that's always going to be the case with adaptations, but that doesn't mean that a film can't land those things better than this movie does.
Yeah.
Right? I would compare it somewhat to something like more recently Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is much better. It just kind of has a similar vibe because it's about the town and kind of like a mascot from the town, and the friend group feels kind of similar. And I will say the teenagers in this are kind of purposely annoying, right? And I think that this is what really needs to be said about this film. If you are somebody who's easily triggered by like, oh, them damn SJWs and this shit's woke and all of it. If you're that kind of person, then you're going to fucking hate this film. That I am 100% positive on. If that stuff doesn't bother you, kind of like modern social commentaries, political leanings being what they are in this film, it's very apparent what they're going for, and what kind of subject matter is in it. And there's some character moments that I definitely will see putting some people off, including some people who were in front of us, even though this was the most obvious fucking thing. In fact, it's a part in the movie where characters go, oh, literally go, oh, because everybody like figures out what it is. So when something happens later that just like, does that thing, it's like, well, yeah, duh. Of course that's where this is going. Yeah. But we still had a visceral reaction from a couple guys in front of us. So yeah, I definitely think this is going to be seen as like woke trash to that kind of crowd. So if for some reason you are one of those kinds of people, grow up, A, but B, you're not going to like the movie. But yeah, I just don't think, and here's the thing, like, it's hard because even though I'm not typically offended or like mad about those kinds of things in film, I really don't usually give a shit unless it's way too in your face. The movie has to be good for me to defend it, right? And I don't think this movie's all that good. So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know how many people are going to like this, even if they aren't triggered by like the woke stuff. Yeah. Right? They're going to be like, this is just not good.
My thing is that I think a lot of people, especially when you have like a clown slasher, when we already have Art the Clown, like I think that's the biggest hurdle. Yeah. Because it is going to be compared to Art, and it's nothing like those movies. Like, it's a completely different type of slasher film.
This got greenlit because of Terrifier.
Yes.
I can
but
almost
because
guarantee
it. The slasher clowns, that's really popular right now. Yeah. But this is just a very different film. Now, I do think that there will be an audience for it. I do think there'll be people that like it. I think and I'm glad. Like, I hope that there are more people that enjoy it than that don't. But if you are hoping for something, that is similar to like the Terrifier films or like more of like a brutal slasher, this is not going to be that for you.
No.
This is much more of, like I said, kind of like an entry level. It is rated R for like language and some of the kills and stuff, but like realistically it feels like it could be like a PG-13.
There's like zero tension in the film because
Yeah.
every single time anything happens, a joke is thrown in.
Yeah,
It's
also
completely
got
diffuse any kind of horror that the movie might build to.
There's a good amount of comedy in this, and that's definitely another part that will, you know, if you don't like comedy in your horror,
Very
you're not gonna
winky,
like this.
very self-aware,
Yes.
very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
As soon as something happens, a character has to remark on how ridiculous that is
Right.
or whatever. Like, it immediately eliminates any tension that the film has even sort of created, which is very little to begin with.
Yeah.
And I don't think we build up characters or motivations here very well at all. I think in the book it does a much better job, as it usually does. But,
Right.
you know, with this, it still could have built that better. They do an okayish job because of, you know, the motivation for the antagonist. It's like, okay, I see it because I know I was looking for it. I already know what
Yeah.
ends up happening, so I was really looking for, like, is there enough justification for this? Because it would have to be a really big motive
Right.
for this outcome, and they don't sell it well. There's such little character development going on in this film with so many things, and with how big the story becomes, it just needs more time. The movie felt like, when it was over, it felt like A, B, and C done.
Yes.
It is like, here's the setup, here's the, like, you know,
The middle,
climax,
here's
and
the
we're
end.
done.
Yeah, it was very
It felt like it
quick.
was 35 minutes long.
Yeah, it's definitely like 96 minutes, so it's, you know.
Oh, it was shorter
it's
than that.
Yeah.
It was shorter than that, because this movie started at like 7 on the dot, or 8 on the dot. Yeah, 8 on the dot, and it was over by like 9:22. So it was like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it felt like an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, our recommendation is if you're wanting to see it, don't go see it at a drive-in. Go
Fuck
to like
no.
a regular theater. If you're like on the fence, you should wait and not go see it in theaters. If you're like, if what we're saying, like, you're not interested in it and already excited for it or read the book, this is probably something that you can wait on.
I don't know how you watch this review and are excited for it.
No,
like, there's
I mean,
nothing
like,
worth selling here.
if you've read the book and you're excited and you're like, I want to go see it anyway, of course, just don't see it at a drive-in theater. Unless you have a really great drive-in near you that has amazing screens and no, like, ambient lighting that messes things up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for most of our, like, you know, regular people that watch the channel, I just think it's going to be a pretty forgettable film for most people. So.
Sure. And
which is a shame because, you know.
We were next to a car that's battery went dead, and this, like, guy came over from the drive-in and was, like, fixing it with a flashlight right next to us.
Yeah.
The whole time. There's a lot of distractions. You could barely see the screen, but I can tell that the kills are not memorable. There's a couple that are okay from what I could tell. I will see it again when it hits VOD or something, just to be able to see more of it, and maybe my opinion will change a bit, but there's no way it's changing drastically.
Yeah.
I would be shocked. Happily shocked, of course. I always want to love a movie.
Of course.
But this is not great. I don't see audiences like. I'm going to assume that this one is going to be panned.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a shame. I expected it, though, because I think the book is very tropey, very one-dimensional, and very forced at times. So I was like, unless they really change things up, I don't think this is going to be very good. And I wasn't. Yeah, I was pretty correct. So, I guess that's it. Anything more?
No.
Okay, I don't want to alarm you, but look behind you. We had to include him. In case anyone wondered if we still had Shorty.
We have Shorty. He's here always.
We had to put a clown in the shot.
Yeah.
Besides me. And Grogu.
Yeah.
Our little clown dog. A little clown dog in a cornfield.
It's a clown dog, huh?
All right. Well, that's it, guys. If you have a chance to see this tomorrow in the drive-in, unless your drive-in is much different, and you've been to that drive-in and you're like, oh, my drive-in has great quality, like clarity and everything, it's like, then have at it.
Yes.
But if you have never been to a drive-in,
this isn't the movie to go see.
We're never going to the drive-in again.
No, we literally decided not ever.
Never ever again.
Not even for special events.
Nope.
Or early releases.
Nope.
We're waiting.
Because the drive-in's more for like social gatherings where people like want to get drunk or get in the back seat and fuck or like, you know what I mean? Like this is not for film watchers. It's for people who just want to hang out, get drunk, talk with their friends.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like if you want to go to a movie but you don't want to actually watch the movie.
Correct. It's for teenagers to have an excuse to sit around and joke with their friends and push each other around, and they don't really care about the film at all.
Yeah.
That's what a drive-in is for.
If you're able to, go to a theater.
Yes.
And if you're not able to go to a theater for other reasons, then wait for VOD on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the comments.